you've made my business illegal, right?
Yeah.
What is my business? My business is bringing people together. That's what we do in CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
So for the 620 boxes or affiliates in France, it was literally made illegal. CrossFit was made illegal.
Yeah.
You know, what are we excellent in? We're excellent in bringing people together to train them. We're excellent in bringing coaches together to upskill them. That's what we do. And so, not allowed by not being allowed to bring people together, our business model is literally made illegal. And then obviously boxes, we have a
1, 2, 3.
My name is Carl Powell.
I am Marco Casali.
I'm Lasse Rantala.
Carl Dial. I'm the
Escapist.
Hola, soy Marco Casali y ustedes están escuchando
In to the Escapist Corner. Moro! Rantala Lasse tässä terve. Sä kuuntelet Escapist Corneria.
Yeah, so welcome to the Escapist Corner. All good.
yeah.
All
Busy.
Busy times.
Not all for the right reasons, right? But
Yeah.
I can't wait for the boxers to get back to coaching, so they leave me alone. I got too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
How you guys doing up north? You good?
Well, good.
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag of things, right? So specifically here in Berlin, things are a little bit a bit different. It's like federal country, so different states have different regulations and different setups. So for us at the moment, we're still closed, not allowed to do indoor training, but we are allowed to do outdoor training. So in a way,
with a maximum of 4 people, right? Is that right?
8 people with a coach involved, so 8 people all together. So
plus one makes not okay.
Yeah, groups of 7 is perfectly fine. It's good. So far, we've been able to do that since it's been a week today. So good.
Right. Okay. Well, it's a start, right? The groups of 7 is a start, but depends on your business model as to whether that's going to be enough to keep you guys afloat or not, right? So.
Yeah, a lot. Actually, what we did, we pivoted to putting all our members on online personal training.
Right.
So everyone has been busy. Like our coaches have been very busy with taking care of our members, and we have been able to create like these success stories now with all the members too over the time.
That's really good. How many sessions do they get a week or a month?
We had like initial where we said 3 to 4 sessions a week per member. At the like disregarding their regular membership, they just everyone got the same. But then we've been quite honestly just giving them whatever they've been requesting. So some guys have like almost every day. And then we have some others, they have twice a week only, and they say that's perfect. They just want to have like a mobility program to start with, and they do the same thing for 1 week and then we shift and so on. So I mean it's pretty cool to see how many have increased their capacity. Like we got like two members posting yesterday. They did like the lifetime PRs in 5K runs and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Like I would have
no 1RM snatch at home though, right?
I think no one grabbed a barbell in the last 2 months, so it's going to be quite a change when that happens. And from a business perspective, then classes here at the our box are 8 people per class. So that's a normal size.
Right.
So
it's normal size. Okay, that's good.
One less works perfectly fine.
Yeah, and indoors or outdoors. If you guys got a car park and stuff that you can use?
No, actually we are in a pedestrian street, which is public space, but we're not allowed to use that as public space, so we have to move 50 meters away to the park. Which
if it's 50 meters, that's fine, right? It's not like walking 800 or something.
Actually we're training 2 kilometers from here, I think.
Right.
But our PT clients are here kind of close by, but it's definitely different. I would say we already hit the record button.
Okay.
But
well, then become more official. It's good.
Exactly. But I'm always like, hey, I'm impressed from your Corona hairstyle.
It's
I don't think it's
no hairdresser for 3 months, man.
But it's not too shabby.
shaved my head actually in the first like week, and I was supposed to like leave a little bit of fuzz, but I'd never shaved it before, and the razor had this plastic heading, and it wasn't grabbing the hair. So I took the plastic heading off, and I went like that, and it's like made a hole here that's still there. I got this one hole. So I went, okay, fuck it, let's take it all off. So I just shaved it all off. So it's okay. It's 3 months. It's fine. I got it. Yeah. But it's it's like women. They need to find it. They need to go to the beauty parlor. We got to go get a haircut.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Here is like, I don't know. It's a big theme. The fact that the hairdressers. I mean, there's been discussions about when are they going to be open. I'm like, what? This is like, why hairdressers? I mean, this is huge.
It's not my priority. But,
I mean, it's I don't know whether the sensation in Germany is the same as in France, but there's a huge amount of frustration now, because there's a growing sense that it was kind of like already lack of planning by the governments. And I mean, Germany's quite an exception because you guys have had relatively low death rates.
Yeah.
But you've tested massively, whereas the rest of Western nations haven't had the means in place to test massively, and have had huge numbers. I mean, or supposedly huge numbers. I mean, how many people would have died anyhow of whatever chronic disease, and it's just precipitated the disease. But the numbers are disproportionate compared to what's happened in Germany. And so, closing down a country for like 3 months for 0.01% of the population is pretty radical.
It's quite an issue. I read a couple of reports, a couple of news now that the consequences of it. I mean, what you were saying, people are dying from this disease, and when the one death is as hard as it is, but we're seeing a spike in rates of suicide deaths or many others. So what's the limit?
But it's going to be the lowest year for deaths from cardiorespiratory disease, type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, cancers. So people with low immune systems. Literally, there was a graph published by, I can't remember the name of the guy. He's a statistician, and he took from the last 2 months in the US, and the figures on deaths by chronic disease are the lowest they've been in decades, because everything's being bundled under COVID. So when we say they're dying of COVID, well, are they dying of COVID, or are they dying of one of the many diseases they've been carrying for a long time? I think the biggest message here is, being unhealthy and being fat is a very dangerous state of affairs.
Yeah.
It's just that now it's being highlighted. So I mean, shit.
I mean, putting that into the conversation, because you just two things I would like to. How is the impact of COVID in France, as you see in a general population, and how is it on the specific CrossFit world? What has been the biggest impact?
In the general population, they're kind of like France is run. They kind of run France like as if Paris is France. So the government kind of like dictate laws and legislations from what they're living within Paris. And I obviously have a box in Paris, and I have 2 boxes in Paris and one down in Bordeaux. So I see how both populations have lived the confinement. I went up to Paris a couple of weeks ago, and in Paris they're living the confinement strictly. I mean, it's pretty full on. So it's masks, it's social distancing. People are even more unfriendly than usual. Even the dogs shitting on the sidewalk stay away. And all this kind of stuff. So they're living it. I mean, full on, because they're being bombarded by media that's creating some sort of frenzy. And also because there's just such a high density of law enforcement. So the shutdown was enforced. Every major axe within Paris had police on it, and were stopping people, asking them why they're moving, why they're going, where they're running to, where do they live, and all this kind of stuff. And then in Bordeaux and the other cities outside of Paris, so we're in the southwest. The shutdown was like a 2-month vacation, paid vacation for most people, but not for entrepreneurs. It was, it's time that every week that goes past, you're going closer and closer towards bankruptcy, right? Yeah. But for people working for the government, it's fine, because they're paid full salary. Teachers, etc., paid full salary to do like no work. I mean, teachers were giving like 1 class a day, by Zoom or something. but getting on a full salary. So for them, it was like having an extended summer holiday. Unemployed people love it because, hey man, even their family are at home now. They don't have to go to work, so they're not alone. Sitting on the couch eating Pringles and watching Netflix. They've got the whole family there. It's like having Christmas vacation, but with the sun out.
Yeah.
And then the sun was shining for a good part of the confinement, so it was like you could smell barbecue every day. And then at like 6 p.m. you'd have a neighbor go, "Hey, drinks time." And the other guy say, "I'm coming." It's like, guys, it's meant to be a confinement. Yeah. So it was like, seriously, I've shut my business for this.
Yeah.
You've banned my business model. So you've made my business illegal. Right. Yeah. What is my business? My business is bringing people together. That's what we do in CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
So for the 620 boxes or affiliates in France, it was literally made illegal. CrossFit was made illegal.
Yeah.
What are we excellent in? We're excellent in bringing people together to train them. We're excellent in bringing coaches together to upskill them. That's what we do. And so, not allowed by not being allowed to bring people together, our business model is literally made illegal. And then obviously boxes, we have a bricks and mortar business, right? How many boxes we're doing online programming? Not that many. How many we're doing Zoom classes? I don't think any. I think, sorry, just 1 second. I'll just close the door. The difficulty of having a cleaning lady, right? You don't do the hooping, but you love it. Give me a second. Yeah, she's wonderful, but she doesn't quite understand. I think because she sees me sitting at home, she thinks I don't work, But she's lovely.
That lazy fucker is home again.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, what's he doing? It's 2 o'clock. What happened to the 9 to 5? I can't remember what we were talking about, but I think I was saying something interesting. I can't remember.
No, but we're basically being forced to close all the bricks and mortar facilities. When your business model is run around bricks and mortar, and so you've got rents or you've got bank loans, because if you were lucky enough to purchase your location, right? I mean, 95 to 99% of box owners rent, and will have relatively high rents because we don't have machines, but we need open space. So when you say open space, you have relatively high rent. So our model, not only was it made illegal, but it's a very expensive illegal model to have. And obviously in France, I don't know about other countries, I don't know the details, but in France there was no help on rents, for example. So the government said, we'll make sure that rents are suspended. So when you hear the word suspended, okay, well, does that mean like we don't pay them? Then that's fine. Then okay, it takes a big thorn out of my side. I'm not going to be paying. So on my 3 locations, I pay 84,000 euros a month in rent. Close me down for 3 months. Well, that's like €250,000 that have just been up in smoke, right? And so when they say suspended, you're going, okay, well, what's the definition of suspended? And then you find out like 10 days later that suspended is basically, they can't charge you the rent for the time that you're obliged to be closed, but they can charge it as soon as you open. So you're going to have €250,000 of rent that lands on your lap for something that you didn't exploit or use. Saying that's not the right way to do it. That's not the, if you're gonna force me to close, have a plan in place, have an idea. So there's a huge amount of frustration within the affiliate community here in France at how it's been, at how entrepreneurs have been dealt with, because obviously being a box owner, we don't belong to big group, so we don't have financial institutions financing us, or we don't have CVs and venture capitalists, VC companies financing us. We're basically, mum and pop shops that have put their balls on the chopping block, their life savings to open up something. And you're literally the only part of society that's had no help. You get no support. So as a small business, you get up to 1,500 euros in support, which is
laughable.
Yeah, it's peanuts. So there's a big amount of frustration at the moment. So we started deconfinement on the 11th of May with groups of up to 10. So very similar to what you guys are doing. So it's 9 + 1 coach, which is pretty good in outdoor spaces. But the country's been separated into different regions. So you have green regions where like there are no clusters anymore. So it's okay, green. So we'll still do outdoor training and stuff. And then there are the red regions where you can do outdoor training, but there are no outdoor spaces open. So all the parks are closed. So like Paris is a red region. I have 2 boxes in Paris. They're saying you can train outdoors, but you can't train in any parks or any gardens. But, okay, so we're training in the street.
Yeah.
So it's something you can possibly do for 2 weeks because it's better than just doing Zoom classes. And so your members are happy already. So you're giving them a bit more, but longer than that, and people are going to start getting impatient, and it's going to.
Yeah.
So it's not a particularly good situation for anybody. And we've been lobbying the government. So we've been writing letters to the Minister for Sport. And we've written a template with Brett, who works for HQ. He's the lobbyist in Washington, and he represents CrossFit's interests towards the US government, but he's also now helping in Europe. And he's starting to do stuff with the European Union. He's starting to do stuff with the French government, and he's helped us to write a letter that we've made available now to affiliates here in France. And if they want to, they take the template and they personalize it, and we give them the email box that we're going to drown out, which belongs to the right-hand man of the Minister for Sports. And so the idea is that this guy understands that CrossFit is not the same as Global Gym.
I tried this. I don't know if this would work. I mean, I haven't seen any results yet, but I've been tagging like the senator for sports in Germany on LinkedIn. And I published like our appeal also to the to the Berlin Senate and so on. Again, it's like state issue more here. So some states it's they are already opened, but not in our state. And this is mainly due to malpractice, I would say, on our governmental system, because they simply don't have the interest to help the citizens. So I write the instances here that are doing the controlling and giving our fines if we would put out the equipment now, and we basically write them, and they write back, but like with zero interest of helping out, like zero interest in looking at the actual letter you sent. So they don't read it through or anything. They just say, like, these are the laws, and we can't give you any what's it called, special treatment,
special favors. I'm
like, okay, fine, but who should I contact? Who can I call? Because
it's me, but I can't do anything for you.
but like we have a paper where we say this is the standards we want to hold, so people can safely train without contaminating each other. And we would be safer than any restaurant, coffee shop, or hairdresser, or any kind of business out there. Because we basically could, at least like we look at our personal training clients, we could offer 100 square meters per person. Like,
totally. Yeah, absolutely. But that's where by being dumped into the same sort of category as a Globo Gym, we're being treated like them. And I mean, if I'm the Minister for Sport and I'm about to dictate policy for Globo Gym and then apply it to a CrossFit gym, well, then we're going to end up with a policy of, you can only have one person per 30 square meters, and the team has to be there to disinfect all the equipment, and etc. And it's like, well, we're not the same at all. And as you're saying, we have a booking system, so we can control who comes in. We can reduce the bookings to 7 people per class, 9, 15, whatever you tell us to do.
Yeah.
We can also limit the space. We're not limited by machines that are put down on the floor.
We don't have to share equipment or anything.
Exactly. It's small equipment that can be disinfected before and after use. Yeah. We can do classes every 75 minutes. So you do a 60-minute class, and there's a 15-minute handover to clean equipment, make sure the group leaves before the next group comes in. Most boxes have different doors, so you can have one door to come in and then the other door to go out, so they're not crossing over. I mean, there's and obviously the difference between a Globo is that it's coached from beginning to end. So if the coach says stand there, you stand there. And if you're not abiding by the rules, well, hey man, you can't book your classes anymore. So it's very different to a Globo where they live on overpopulation. The Globo Gym knows that they can only serve maybe 1,000 members, but they're going to sell 6,000 €20 memberships. Yeah. They live on overpopulation, whereas a CrossFit gym doesn't. We live on serving those that have joined, and they live on free access to equipment. So they basically just rent out equipment. We don't. We coach, and those are the things that the politicians and the people that are legislating need to understand. So how can we get that message across? And also it's important to get that message across, but for them to understand that it's a message coming not from just you or me, but it's coming from 620 affiliates in France. And in those 620 affiliates, you've got several hundred members in each affiliate. And there all of a sudden, you've got a volume of electorate. Yeah. And that's when lobbying works, is when these guys understand that there's a volume of electorate. And so that's why we've decided to go this route, where we're doing a template. And it's one email box that's as close as we can get to God, if you want to call the Minister for Sport God, you know. And we're gonna drown that email box, and it's just gonna be about deconfining CrossFit. And so we're gonna lobby for that. And then the second thing we're gonna lobby for is not to be under the Ministry for Sport. We want to get lobbed into the Minister for Health, such as physios and osteopaths are legislated for under the Minister for Health. So several reasons. One is, if you're under the Minister for Health, obviously they understand more of what we're trying to do. Minister for Sport, they look after the local judo club that's run by the town hall. They look after the local tennis club that's run by the town hall. And then they just think that private health clubs are either specific yoga classes or they're globos. Whereas health understand, functional movement a lot more. And also VAT is a lot lower in health. So we pay 20% VAT at the moment because we're lobbed into, we're thrown in with the fitness crowd. Whereas in the health crowd, VAT is 5.5. So obviously that difference of 14.5 is a huge difference at the end of the year, someone's P&L, right? So, guys, some guys margin over the year will be like 5-7%. Well, all of a sudden you're going to 20-21% if you're on 5% already. That makes a huge difference to what they can give a service. So so those are the things we're looking to angle at the moment in France. And I exchange a lot. You guys know Mac, right? Marcus McLean in Germany. Yeah. And we talk all the time, every single day. And we so whatever works best in one country, we'll try and apply in another and stuff. So so it's at the moment, this is new ground for us. Lobbying at a distance. I've been to the Senate a few times to lobby. I was mainly lobbying for CrossFit to try and get into schools and to be introduced as an option for physical education for the schools. And we just came up against, just a brick wall of miscomprehension and it's
ignorance at the end of it. No, we just we have this discussion all the time, and what you were saying, we are just under the umbrella of fitness, and we are just categorized and managed just the same way as a global gym here, 5,000 people in X amount of square meters. So people really, a government level, normal people either don't really understand what CrossFit is and what is it that we're doing.
Well, they don't understand fitness. That's the problem. So what I've seen is
they can't define it most of the time, right? So how can they understand it if they can't define it?
Yeah. So we, and this is kind of where I think America, in one sense, has a bit easier lever in that sense that people can sign up for for a CrossFit program or a personal training or nutrition and so on, because they actually save money on their insurance.
On health insurance, yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Totally.
So for an American to put like a couple of $100 or dollars into a fitness or into CrossFit, that really helps them with their health. That actually means they're saving thousands of bucks a year.
But also,
we're still paying taxes, so people don't understand. Why should I have to pay for membership when I'm already paying my taxes to cover my health insurance, right? That's kind of what's happening. So then the government is the decider suddenly, like what is healthy and what's not. And if we look at the government in, I don't know the politicians in France except for Macron maybe, but we look at the German Senate or Berlin Senate, and I can't tell you without hesitating, every member in our box is fitter than anyone in that place.
Well, so in France, there have been 30,000 COVID deaths just underneath. In the UK, over 30,000 COVID deaths, etc. Spain, huge amount of COVID deaths. Italy, a huge amount of COVID deaths. Holland, a large amount of COVID-related deaths. How many active members of a CrossFit gym have died from this? Do you know any? I don't know any, and I've spoken to several hundred affiliates in the last couple of weeks, and there's a single affiliate who could say, I have a member who's died from this. We had one member who went into intensive care. He came out, and as soon as he came out, he called me and he said, I want to fucking thank you, because if I hadn't been training with you for the last 4 years, I would have died.
Yeah.
That was the only guy that I know who suffered from bad symptoms from this COVID. And he didn't pass on.
Yeah. The only story I heard was from New York, which I can't even say if this is a true story, because this is just a meme almost. So it was a CrossFitter, 35-year-old nurse. And she worked in a hospital and got COVID and died. Again, I don't know the background or anything, again, who knows? You know, it's always. But as you say, I haven't heard, like in our affiliate group here in Germany, I haven't seen anyone saying like, hey, like a shitload of my members are now in intensive care.
Yeah. There was a box up in Colorado where every member caught COVID. I mean, it's like 90% of the members caught COVID, because there was a physician who was in the box, who was training in the box, and he was actually patient zero in the box. He spread it to everyone else. Not any of them had very severe symptoms. You know, loads had hallucinations and pains and all this kind of stuff, but no one ended up in hospital. Why? Because their immune system was more resistant, right? It's as simple as that. And you look at all the statistics coming out of New York, where they've been studying and they've been following this pretty damn closely since day one. You have a factor of comorbidity. So people that are passing away with COVID-related symptoms have a comorbidity factor of 2.7. So they're carrying 2.7 diseases with them in life on a daily basis. COVID comes along and smacks them on the back of the head and precipitates their death. 2.7.
Yeah.
If your 40% body mass is body fat, 40% or more, you're 6.7 times more likely to end up in intensive care than someone who's not obese. I mean, this is what the government should be focusing on for the medium long term. And they should be saying, you know, Savan said it the other day in a podcast. He said, I would rather focus not on being someone who doesn't catch the virus. I'd rather focus on being someone who catches it and can handle it, because I'm
survive
healthy
exactly.
enough. Yeah. And that's what the government should be doing, is how can we make our population, whether it's 70 million people or whether it's 200 people in a box, how can we make them more resistant to, because today it's COVID, COVID-19. What's it going to be tomorrow? COVID 2021? What's it going to be in 2 years' time? You know, the only reason Ebola didn't spread further was because it was in rural areas of Africa where there wasn't transport. There wasn't international flights. There wasn't an international airport. That's the only reason Ebola didn't go out and kill millions of people. And we just weren't that, I'd say, lucky in the Western world this time. It's the first time it's come to Europe this massively, and our governments are being caught totally unprepared. You know, totally unprepared.
How do you see it now, having all this information, having the reactions and how the whole situation has unfolded in the last couple of months? I know it's super hard to just see the bright light at the end of the tunnel and see, okay, what's going to be next? But do you see, or do you feel like this whole episode that we're talking about, the guys that survive, the guys that don't have an issue, are the ones that are fitter or healthier? Do you see a growth in CrossFit, or an ask for fitness, for getting better, for getting healthier in the normal population? Or is just going to be, you know what, I survived this one, fuck the rest, and whatever happens next?
Wave of people pushing doors to fitness clubs and health clubs and stuff. To be honest, I mean, who's got a body mass index of 40% and doesn't know that it's fucking unhealthy? Yeah. You know, I mean, did they really need COVID to come and shake them and say, hey man, this isn't good for you? They knew it already, right? They're the type of population that will keep making excuses until they have a heart attack, and then they go, oh my God, you know, I saw the white light, now I'm shitting my pants, I'm not going to see my kids grow up. Well, I mean, if they haven't seen the light already and they haven't pushed the door, will it accelerate? Yeah, it may accelerate some. But honestly, you know, I might appear really, not very patient or accepting. But if someone's not looking after themselves, I mean, we can talk freely, right? I mean, I don't know who.
If you already got there to the 40%, you're done. Kind of, it's a bit more about the other guys. Okay, maybe that's my end point, and maybe it just changed now.
I feel more sympathy and empathy towards the older generation that have been lied to for ages and for decades, saying that decrepitude is part of growing old, and illness is part of growing old. It's not. Illness is illness. Growing old is old. They're two separate things. It's just, your body becomes less resistant, and you can, the fountain of youth, we have it. We have the closest thing to the fountain of youth. I mean, it just serves the purpose of so many different lobbies to make people believe that as you grow old, you have to become decrepit and you have to become weak and be susceptible to dying when you contract a COVID. I feel more sympathy for them than some guy who's 30 years old and he's out of breath after walking up 10 steps. Yeah. Dude, no one's forcing you to stick that food in your face.
Yeah. This this is big just because I'm so much more sympathetic than you. No, I'm
frustrated. It's like I've been talking to these people for 30 years trying to get them to move. Yeah, and you hear the same excuses time and time again.
I still feel sympathy, because the same thing with these people is like again, it's again this there's no like main conspiracy in that sense, but it's just everything out there in media, but also big food is simply giving everyone the green light. Just no, it's fine to be that, and you already have like so many excuses now, and people are also so fragile that they can't even it's not politically correct to say, yes, like you say, like, dude, hey, it's not okay to be fat.
A human being was not designed to be carrying 30, 40 kilos of excess body mass. It just wasn't designed to do that. You're putting too much strain on your system. Of course you're going to weaken your system. I mean, did you see the scandal about the singer Adele? Did you see that? Where she's lost like I don't know how many kilos, and she's looking pretty fit, and she's very proud. She's worked hard. She looked after nutrition. She's training, etc. And so she said, I'm really proud. Here's my new body, and she put a photo up of her. Saying, I didn't go under the surgeon's knife. This is just me making wiser choices and deciding to look after myself. And the amount of people that slagged her off, saying, oh, by saying that you feel better and this is better to be like this, you're actually saying that being fat is bad. Dude, being fat is bad. It's not fat shaming. Fat is bad. It's being fat is not helping anybody. And if oh Christ, how can you've got to at the end of the day, the only one who can make the decision is the person themselves. And they make a decision between. They don't make a decision between what I want to achieve and my situation now. They make a decision between fear, my fear of change or my fear of what's going to happen to me if I continue on this course. And until they become conscious that being, 30% body fat, well, what's going to happen if you don't start making the right decision? You're going to go to 35, and then you're going to go to 40, and then you're going to have type 2 diabetes, and then you're going to be friggin' medicated every day of your life, and then you've got to avoid certain things, and then you're going to be out of breath. You can't pick your kids up when they want to. You can't play football with your son, or you have to see your own dick. You got to look in the mirror. I mean, that's sort of, if that doesn't scare you into acting, nothing's going to scare you into acting.
I'm thinking this is again this misperception that people have is that again. You said that with the growing old, the population growing old, and I had this discussion with my mother-in-law the other day. She turned 70, and I
said, "Watch out with this one."
And I said, we were talking. I said, you could be stronger. Like in 5 years, if we start training now, you could be stronger than you were when you were 35. Like
absolutely,
no doubt,
absolutely.
And you could be, having another 10, 15 years where you can climb any mountain more or less. But
you can walk upstairs. You can live independently. You don't need someone to come and wipe your ass. Absolutely. You're totally right. Right.
And I mean, I also had a discussion here with one of our members. He said, like, because he is like, hey, dude, you're a lot of CrossFit, like, and I like everything you do, but you talk a lot about like the CrossFit, let's say, the health of CrossFit, and we need to stop obesity and diabetes and everything. And he's like, yeah, but that's more like an American thing. And then I said, that's the scary part. You know that in 5 years from now, the diabetes society in Germany, they're counting on 30% of population having the type 2 diabetes. So that's their calculation. And they expect this to happen. And everyone just is in this full neglect that, it's an American thing. Because
because supersize, and you can see the American families that are huge. Yeah, totally.
But it's not only that. I would say it's also the circles you're in, especially in Germany. It's like we're here in the box, so we only see good-looking people all day. We are central in the city, so it's a bit more wealthy. But if I go to we go to like a swimming lake just in the east of Berlin. Then you start to see these families showing up, like mom, dad, 2 cigarettes in their mouth, and
everyone's obese.
Everyone is obese. The kids are obese and everything. But if you live in the city and so on, you don't see that.
As a parent, as an obese parent, you have a responsibility towards your kids, right? But your kids see you. I mean, why do healthy parents spawn healthy kids? Because they see their parents making the nutrition choices, exercising, etc. You set an example, and I mean that message is fundamental, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you're saying about going to the local swimming pool and seeing the families. Well, go to the local supermarket and you'll see the families, and then look in their caddies, and there's no secret, right? Yeah. I mean, you don't see a caddy filled with broccoli, lettuce, tomatoes, etc., pushed by a dude who's got a BMI of 40%, right?
It's a little bit frightening when you see people what they buy in the supermarket. So many times it's like, I'm the only guy buying here veggies and protein here.
Yeah, and even when they have meats or something, it's not fresh cuts. It's stuff that's that's been frozen, or it's like it's got breadcrumbs around it and all this kind of stuff. And totally, and the tubes of Pringles will be overfilling, and they don't have water filters at home. They have the 6-pack of Coke bottles and sort of that. I think the big message is this has to come down to individual choice, because our politicians are not going to make the choice for us. This is an epidemic. So you're saying about 30% of the German population is going to will be diabetic within a few years' time, within 5 years' time.
Yeah.
That is huge. That's sort of what sort of financial pressure is that going to put on the system?
Yeah. One more thing about the Diabetes Society here. You know what? They have a homepage where they give you like, tips and tricks for your diabetes, and they have like recommendations for food. So I checked that out, and it's like, can you guess their breakfast recommendation for a type 2 diabetic person?
Okay, I bet you it's got orange juice in it.
Yes, good.
Yeah, that's it. I was like, what do you not want a diabetic to have for breakfast? I've got orange juice in it. What else have we got? Cereal.
Cereal
orange
is good.
Juice.
Yeah.
Cereal,
and
orange juice.
1 to 2 slices of bread.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so super high carb content.
No protein whatsoever.
No proteins, no good fats. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was some cheese on the slices of bread, but that's kind of the. I have so this is 2 years ago, so I haven't checked it today, but this was like I was falling off my chair when I was seeing those things.
But in Western society, we have assisted societies. It's people that expect to be given the right direction by someone else. Yeah. I have no confidence that's going to happen. I have no confidence that our governments will have the political will and be competent enough, even when they have the will, to make things happen to change society. Where I do have confidence is in guys like you and guys like me to keep spreading the word and do something locally in our communities. And if we get enough of those communities going, then you get a groundswell. And I believe that the change will come from the ground up, not from the up down.
Not from top down.
No. Because, and also where is the financial value for them in change happening? It isn't, because they make huge money from selling shit food and producing.
No, it's big pharma and big food are just managing the whole thing in a way.
Yeah. Well, so you take big food and big soda, they're more or less one and the same, right? Let's make people sick. Let's make people sick, and then you got big pharma saying, well, let's alleviate symptoms, but there's no one curing it.
Yeah.
There's no one curing it except for you. You're the guys curing it. And I think individuals need to come to that conclusion.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, the incentive is it's hard to find, because we have 70% of GDP is going to healthcare right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the States, but we're closer to.
Show me one civil servant, one high-ranking civil servant in government working in health that wants their budget cut.
Yeah. No,
of course they don't.
And again, I mean, in the States, it's skewed in the other direction, that the hospitals have to do profits, right? Because they're privately owned, so they are definitely gonna. They don't want people to disappear. But I mean, we can look at this from different perspectives, but definitely, I mean, it's a good. We're creating a good motion for sure. Like every box is. It usually happens. I don't know how. I recall you saying that this too, right? From I don't know how many boxes have been grown out of your boxes that you've created.
You create a passionate person who's a member and he wants to go and spread the love, right?
Yeah.
And he goes and opens his own box. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So it has this positive effect in some way. And I mean, some box owners might have, they might feel like resentment to it, because it's, I mean, it depends on the situation, of course, but competition or whatever. But
in a way, it's also, as Rickard is saying, it's a measurement of success. You can measure his success. If I was able to transform this guy in being so whatever he was doing before and just being so passionate about what I teach him, he just decided to change his life. Well, bring it on.
You haven't just trained him. You've actually shared the methodology correctly with him to a point where he's handed in his notice, gone to get trained up and coached and gone to totally.
Do you have any like favorite memory from a member or so making this huge pivot or change?
Oh yeah, I mean we've had tons in Paris that have opened up boxes. I mean, most boxes that are open in Paris, not all, but most stem from us or one other box called the Addicts. And I have the same conversation whenever it says, I just want to tell you, I'd like to do my coaching exams because I really want to go and open a box. And so I said, hey man, we'll help you. You can even do your internship with us, and we'll help to train you, right? No problem. On one condition is if you open a box within 15 minutes of mine, I'll come and break your windows. Yeah, that's fine. As long as we agree on that.
As long as you're low away, no worries.
Let's go drink a beer and let's go have some fun and stuff. But don't fuck with my community, right? It's basically the message. And then from there, I've also I've had coaches that have left to open up their boxes. I had one coach who left without telling me he was going to open up his box, and I was like, well, why didn't you tell me? I mean, I would have saved you a shitload of money on equipment because I could have got you a deal instead of you doing that, and I could have told you that flooring sucks, and I could have helped you set it up. And because I thought you were going to see it back. I said, why? Why? It's natural. If you've got a good coach, it's fine to coach for someone else, work for someone else until you're in your mid-30s, right? But by that time, if you've been coaching for 10 years, you should be good enough to go on your own. You should have, not everyone has that ambition, but most people should have ambition to go and open their own business. And I hope that they do, I hope that most of my coaches today in 10, 15 years will have their own boxes and their own businesses. And as a box owner or as a leader, our responsibility is to help them achieve those goals. So as long as they understand that, hey, if you're working for me, so long as you're working with me, it's fine. We'll pay you to do your classes. So long as you're giving 100% each class, I will give you as much information, as much training, as much ouverture or opening to knowledge and experience, so that the day you go alone, you make the least amount of mistakes possible. Is that a good deal? Yeah, it's a good deal. And you shake hands, and that's how you work together. And that's fine. I mean, the thing that's heartbreaking is when you get those coaches that want to go off and open a box, and they're talking about it with members, but they don't tell the owner of the box or the head coach and all this kind of stuff. That's shit. That sucks, man. You may as well put things on the table when you're about to recruit a coach and say, hey, I hope one day you want to open your own business. And that whether you're with us for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, that those years will really help build you into an all-rounded business owner and head coach. That for me is really important. And if we're going to grow our community, we need to do that, and we can't expect to be, you can't open up and expect to be the only supermarket in town, right? You're going to have
if the business is good, you will definitely expect the thing to grow out of
totally.
Yeah,
totally. And then
it doesn't make sense.
No, and then the mistake that if anyone's going to be listening to this is thinking of opening a box, the mistake a lot of new box owners make is thinking that they have to go and take members from other boxes to fill their box. That's a total fallacy. Yeah. Only about 9% of people in France, for example, are doing any sort of like physical training.
Yeah.
I mean, 91%. You line up 100 people in your local supermarket. Yeah. You guarantee that 91 out of 100. They're not doing it. Those are the guys you should be going for. Those are the guys that you can really take from zero to hero, right? And as a new coach, you need those easy wins, right? With people that are very sedentary, they get bigger gains to begin with, than taking members from other boxes saying, "Oh, you got no open gym there? Don't worry, I'll do open gym for you." Yeah. You'll do it now because you're not giving any classes. But when you've got more members, you're going to disappoint them anyhow. So, new box owners who go and headhunt members from other boxes, it's stupid. It's a silly game to play.
I don't think. I mean, I guess that has happened, that some people change boxes and so on. That I mean, we have some that might have changed, but again, it's not a huge percentage. And again, as you said, like there's so much people out there that need and want help, and especially if you look at like group training, I see mostly people that are actually already. We look at from those 9% that are doing fitness, right? So that might entail they have a fitness card at some global gym, but they don't use it.
Not actually training. Yeah,
exactly. So they want to have a change already. So they might opt in. And then I don't know. This is just me reflecting now, is that many of the guys that are coming from this 0 or from this 91%, they are actually so out of shape and so insecure that they are mostly not ready to go into a group either. So so that's kind of what we've been seeing in now last year, I would say, is that these guys that really need the attention and the help, they work better now. Like we work them from one-on-one to maybe get them to a group when they're ready,
like to ease the way into group training.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any box that wants to be for me, any box that doesn't do on-ramp or fundamental classes or whatever, for me, is targeting just pre-existing CrossFitters. I mean, the mental blockages, the psychological barriers for someone who's sedentary to start CrossFit are huge. It's like, shit, people are walking on their hands. I haven't put my hands on the floor, and the only time I put my hands on the floor is when I fall out of the bathtub or something. My God, these guys are jumping. I haven't had my 2 feet off the floor, unless I'm in bed, These guys are running. Oh my God, I'm going to look ridiculous. Or is it for me? Or what do you have to wear? Or, oh my God, isn't putting a weight overhead dangerous? Or all these things, are going through their brains. And what they'll tell you is, I don't have the time. Or, it's a little bit expensive, And they'll give you some sort of smoke screen. But really, by putting in place a fundamentals class and explaining that when you're touring them or when you're interviewing them or whatever, and showing them how it works and explaining the role of a PVC pipe as opposed to a heavy bar, and then taking them through 3 hours, 6 hours, whether it's one-on-one or it's really small group, it's the biggest sales tool. Any box that wants to hit that 91% of sedentary population that doesn't have a fundamentals class is missing a beat. For me, anyhow. I mean, my mother. Where would I like my mom to go and train? I wouldn't send her to anywhere that doesn't do a fundamentals class. Anyone I care about, if they say, "Oh, I got a box here," do they do fundamentals? No, we'll find another one. Find somewhere they're going to take time. And as well as the MCI, right? The mechanics, consistency, intensity piece. It's so true. It's so true, and it's 10 times truer for someone who's sedentary. But you get that mechanics part just that much right, and you get a little bit of consistency. They're going from 0 to, they're going from a training bar at 7 kgs to a 30 kg push press in a heartbeat, and they feel like a fucking superhero. You're their hero, right? These are the guys you can really get.
I think this is the good thing with CrossFit is the constant improvement, right? So if you compare it to we say the normal global gym person, he goes and does the same thing every day, or every time he goes to the gym he does the same thing, but he never sees any change, either in his weight or in his on his weight, and for CrossFit we talked to Sean Baker here, if you know who is. He's been doing this Olympic rowing on the concept too for years to get like world records and stuff like that, and it takes so much time to just get like 1 second better,
a tiny improvement, right? But that's the same thing with our members, right? And why we after about it can vary from between 6 months to 18 months, you get these guys going, I'm not progressing anymore. And they think they're not progressing anymore because the progress is so much harder to get. And you get to a certain weight, or you get to a certain speed, or you get to a certain number of rounds in Cindy, and unless you're prepared to enter that pain cave and push that little bit more, you're not going to get that extra 1 kg on your snatch. You're not going to, and it's 1 kg you're talking about. And so they think I'm not progressing anymore. Shit, 1 kg on your snatch, do that every 6 months, man. You're going to have a good snatch in 3 years' time. But it's just because they have such a vertiginous improvement from day 0 or day 1 to day 180 or to day 360, and then after it kind of flattens out. And I think our members need to be aware of that as well, that just because it flattens out doesn't mean you're not progressing. And CrossFit is definitely the best methodology to keep progressing once you're no longer a beginner. Because all these guys in global gyms, as you said, right, they go in and they do the same program over and over again, and then all of a sudden they get no adaptation. Because your body is not feeling stressed. It's used to the stress you're giving it. As well, if you're not stressing your body into something that it's not used to, whether it's going slightly faster than before, whether it's going longer and harder, whether it's going heavier, you're not going to get adaptation.
Or even learn new skills at the same time. It's like, you get really good at weightlifting. Okay, what about getting in the rings? Okay, adaptation, and then translate to the next one, and then all the way goes. We see it all. We see it every day. That's people outside. It's hard to explain with people outside that don't understand it, that haven't done it, and you explain, and it's like, no, that doesn't happen.
How many members do you have that can snatch, right? And they can put a 100 kg bar over their head or an 80 kg bar over their head and do a really nice snatch, but they can't handstand hold. Okay, so you got a compact load coming down from up top. That's great. Now turn the problem upside down, right? Put your hands as the point of contact with the floor. Same thing. You've got a compact load on your hands, and you've got. That's why it's so good to be a coach in CrossFit, right? I mean, it's like you got this whole universe to share with people. So okay, I agree with that.
We actually wanted to ask you this, like a tip from the coach, because if I understand it correctly, you started when you started with your first affiliates, you did that outdoors. And now we're returning outdoors. So what have you discovered to be like, or what were the best tips? Because we said it's different, like it's a different setup when we're outdoors than in the box.
Well, it's hard for whoever's coaching, right, outdoors, because there's more of you don't have the comfort of your box, you don't have the comfort of the music, you have the discomfort of having other people walking around. We have the discomfort of having the police. The police come and visit us all the time, and they're counting, and they're there, and they're taking photos, and it's like, holy shit, and you have the discomfort sometimes of the weather. At the moment it's sunny out, but the first week we deconfined from the 11th, it was pissing with rain all the time. So the main thing is to get people excited. You got to get your coaches excited, and you got to keep getting your members excited. So the advantage is we're not going from being open to having to train outdoors. They'd be like, shit, I kind of liked it indoors. Here we're going from you're at home doing a friggin' Zoom class and 800 burpees a day to coming to, come come and touch a dumbbell in the rain. They go, yeah, touching a dumbbell in the rain. Fuck yeah. Yeah, take your t-shirt off. Why? Because you're gonna get wet anyhow. Yeah, t-shirts off. Yeah. It's like, so it for me, it's about because we don't know how long it's going to be going on for. So the narrative, the excitement around it, the energy around it is really important. Because it's very easy. It's like Zoom classes, we start the Zoom classes and you got 50 people on the Zoom class, then it goes to 45. Then after 3 weeks, it goes down to 28. And it's like, then all of a sudden you're on a Zoom class with 2 people and there's zero energy, Is there zero energy because there are 2 people, or are there 2 people because there's zero energy? It's probably chicken and the egg. But it's the same thing outdoors. At the moment, outdoors is novel. It's good fun. But it's good to see people, even though you're 10 meters away. Great to see you. Yeah. Knees out on the, But after a while, the first person that will get tired of that is the guy who's coaching it. And so for me, the one thing I learned about coaching outdoors and in suboptimal conditions is maintaining their enthusiasm. So it's how to get them involved in the setup, how to get them involved in the programming, the communication of the programming, sharing stories. But and also the advantage is while we're doing such small groups is you can really reconnect with these people, and you can give them really high quality training in that hour. So I think the biggest secret with outdoor training is that motivation, because it's suboptimal conditions, right? And the advantage is it's better than what we had before. And then we started outdoors because we lost our location. The landlord who was renting us a location basically reneged on his deal. We'd signed the rent, and there was LVMH, who have Louis Vuitton, had decided to take the 2nd floor all the way up to the 7th floor, and we had the ground floor and the basement. And when we went to get the keys, and so we've been doing some stuff to get. We've been doing a few outdoor sessions to get a database of leads, that we could call up and say, hey, we've now got a location, come and visit. And I'd already hired the team, and there were 5 of us, between guys who are going to be running reception and coaches and stuff. And the landlord just said, LVMH have come back to us this week, and they want the ground floor and the basement. And I said, well, yeah, but we signed the deal. I said, we don't care. They're going to pay us more. So we're not giving you the keys. Sue me. I don't care, because they're going to be paying me so much. You can sue me. I was like, fuck, seriously? That I got 5 salaries on. I got the guys that are coming in to do the demolition on Monday. I put down at 30,000 in works already. We put down the money that I couldn't get back. So I'd lost, and these are all my own personal savings from having worked since I was friggin' 16, And you're there going, geez, you guys are really fucking me. Don't care. Oh, and by the way, the company's called Unibail, Unibail. They're a bunch of fuckers. Okay, so never do a deal with Unibail. They're international. They're probably in Germany as well. And they did the dirty on us, and they obliged us to actually keep coaching outdoors. And so instead of being outdoors just for 2 weeks, we're outdoors for 3 months. And we're doing one session a week, and then it went to 2 sessions a week, and then it was 3 sessions a week. And it's how we built our database. And it was basically on Facebook. We just said, hey, free outdoor training, but you have to book your spot. We need your name, your surname. We need to have your email address and telephone number. And so they'd fill out a form with that. And we had it wasn't a Google sheet, it was something else. And by the time we found a new location, we had 450 people on a database that had come for free workout, and that had FaceTime with us. And then as soon as we had the location, we called up the 450 people, and our first 150 members came from that 450. And so somehow, by being fucked by Unibail, we tried to say, well, how can we learn from this, and how can we make the best out of the situation? And while you're doing outdoor classes, you can do free classes as well. We do a guest class. So if you're not a member, you have set hours where you can come, and it's just guests. And our coaches in small group will be coaching you, and we use that as our prospecting. So don't lose any time prospecting. Right? It's not because you can't show them the box that you can't give them a bit of the magic. Those would be my biggest recommendations for the outdoor.
I'm thinking. I'm going back to what you said before. It's the difference between us and the fitness global gyms is we're not renting our equipment. We're coaching, so we can do that. We don't need to have walls for doing that. No, of course, it's more fun if we can,
the toys,
control.
Toys, yeah.
If we can control the environment much more, then we can give much better experience. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, it's been a great experience now for us, at least, with the entire outdoor workout thing going on. How has
just on the global thing? There's a really big opportunity though to play here, right? Like, so all the knuckleheads, all the muscle heads from Basic Fit and all these guys, right? And McFit and all this kind of stuff that can't train because their gyms are still closed, right? I mean, those guys aren't coaching 7 people outdoors, right? They probably just put all their staff on unemployment, and in France anyhow, that's what's happened. We've got a Basic Fit that's 50 meters from our box here in Bordeaux. It's got 6,000 members that are doing nothing, right? They're jogging. I'd say it's not even running. They shuffle because they don't know how to run correctly because they've had no one ever coach them that running is a skill. And these people, they can't train in their gym. I mean, don't tell them, right? But we've put stickers on the outside of the Basic Fit door. So if any of their members drive up to see if their club is open, the sticker saying, we're closed, but CrossFit Louvre is open, with an arrow to us across the car park, right? Go and do that sort of shit, save these people from a destiny of shit training and queuing up to do just the same bench press as they did last week, There's a big opportunity for members who are going to be frustrated from the globals. Big opportunity.
How has it been for you now? Do you go back and forth now to Paris, or are you even allowed? Or
you're allowed to. Once a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to go up a couple of days ago, but my truck started to smoke, so I had to take it into the garage. While I was pedaling back on my bike today, so that was it. Waze, and I was on Waze, and then I realized at the time it had told me on Waze was actually by car, and I was on a bike, so I'm pretty fit, but I don't go as fast as I would by car. So my ETA was slightly delayed by about 12 minutes, and I go up to Paris normally about once a week, and I work with the teams that are up there. So I've got really, really awesome teams. My head coaches, they're level 3 coaches, and so they work full time, officially 35, but I work them twice. So it's like, employ one head coach, work him like 2 and pay him like 1.5, right? Is kind of the best deal, right? He gets paid more, but you get a lot of juice out of your orange, right? And so I have really good head coaches, and I had head of reception. So we have these two poles that work together. So it's kind of like sales and after service team, and then the coaching and service team, and they work together. And then I have Julian, who's the director of the French Throwdown, who runs the competition for us, and he oversees operations for the 2 boxes in Paris. So he kind of makes sure that any maintenance, cleaning, any issues, all that kind of stuff is dealt with by him. Any HR stuff is dealt with by him, and all that kind of stuff. And so that's how I managed to oversee the 2 boxes in Paris. And then down here in Bordeaux, it's my son's mum who runs the box here. And the head coach here is Eli, who's on staff. He's a level 3 as well. So we've really focused on training and upskilling our head coaches. And their job is, my head coach shouldn't be coaching more than 10 to 12 hours a week, because the rest of the time, his time is coaching the coaches. So it's assisting the other coaches, giving them feedback, and having a development plan for the coaches. And that I found is more valuable to them than actually short-term salary. I mean, we don't pay the most per class.
No.
But the coaches that are with us, they're with us because they know they're going to keep learning, and they're going to keep growing and stuff. And then my commitment to them is, once we know what their development plan is, I know I've gone off on a tangent. You asked me how it is between Pat, but I think this is quite important, because we coach. We don't just do open gym. And for me, whatever we invest in our coaches is fundamental. It's like research and development for any other company. Our R&D investment is developing our coaches and upskilling our coaches. And the better your coach, the more experience your coach has, and the better skill they are, well, the better service they can give, and to more people. So it's a win-win situation. Your business is going to win, your box is going to win, the members are going to get better service and better advice and better help, and your coaches are getting upskilled, and he's learning the business. He's becoming, today, Greg says it often. He says, this is the first time in living history that we've had an era of professional coaches. not animators that get up on a podium and give a step class and from the top and 1, 2, 3, 4 and all this kind of stuff, and let's clap here and all that kind of stuff. Professional coaches, guys that are passionate enough to go and freaking spend money and time learning, and then they want to share their passion. And by pushing this, it's going to become recognized as a very good profession. There's no better time to become a coach than now. I believe anyhow.
Yeah. I mean, as hopefully as soon as we can get out of this, again, you can already. We're fortunate enough that we can, coach now people outside and everything, and so that's at least the first good step. And for us, we will probably be reopening now beginning of June. That's
2nd of June.
No, the beginning. No. That's just I don't know exactly, but that's kind of how it feels like, because most of Germany is already opened,
right?
And they're gonna have like a new sit down at Senate next week, where they like the sports ministry already said gyms should be open by June. So we'll see what Berlin decides, but. I mean, that's kind of what we're
looking forward to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know how far they gotten. I mean, again, France is had much more higher death rate than Germany, and spread was much higher and everything. So it seems like the French government has been much more, restrictive on putting any ease on the lockdowns there. But what's your prediction in France?
Well, the 2nd of June is when the next wave of deconfinement is supposed to happen.
Okay.
They're going to make announcements on the 27th of May. So, in good form, as they have been, they're going to give you the information like 4 or 5 days before you're supposed to go out and apply and open your business up if you can, or not open your business up, or adapt and make a change. Yeah. So it's not obviously, they're trying to make a stressful situation as stressful as possible by the way they're actually handling it. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the issues in France and Spain and Italy is not only the governments, but also the people in general, the discipline. I mean, like I can remember I used to go to Frankfurt once a month for years. I used to go out there for business meetings, and I remember getting honked as I crossed the road. And I didn't understand. It's like, dude, you're not on a crossing. It's like, yeah, and. No, in Germany you cross on the crossing. So like in every country. No. In Germany you really cross on the crossing. I was like, okay, cool, yeah.
Only with green light.
Only with a green light. Yeah. In Germany you guys have a discipline that in Mediterranean countries they don't. And then also in France there's this kissy thing. Even guys are kissing and kiss each other all the time. It's like no tongues, just cheeks. No tongue. But yeah, so the Mediterranean way of life, the Mediterranean way of being, just isn't conducive to limiting the spread. That and the fact that the government, I mean, the French government were warned by the consulate in China in mid-December that there was something really bad happening in China. There was something really bad, and that it was going to spread to France, and they had to send out teams to go and get blood samples to develop a vaccine, and they had to send out teams to work out what the best sort of testing kits would be and all that kind of stuff. And the French government did nothing from mid-December, and then all of a sudden you get to end of February. So that's like 3 months or 2.5 months where the government did nothing. And because they did nothing to prepare mass testing, or they did nothing to test those that were coming in from overseas, they didn't even close the border with Italy out of solidarity, even though, Italy was like the first country in Europe that was, had massive clusters. All these things led to the fact that the only thing they could do at one point was say, shit, we're not ready. We have to stop everything.
Yeah.
Put your life on hold for 3 months, take your business back 4 years, put the teams that you spent years developing on unemployment benefit, and now go and take every single penny you've got in the bank to go and pay rents on a location you're not going to be using for the next few months, because we're not ready.
Yeah.
So, okay, I've just shared my frustration with you. French government were absolute bollocks. You guys, honestly, I think you're lucky to be in Germany, where there seems to be some more common sense about things. So there's like this huge overreaction, and then there's this unhealthy relationship between media and politics. the more the media and the press make a scandal out of COVID, or, oh my goodness, look at these numbers, or, oh my goodness, look at all these people dropping dead, oh my goodness, the more the politicians think, oh shit, we can't deconfine.
Yeah.
But it's not out of figures, it's out of the noise that's being made by the press. And there's this very unhealthy relationship between the media and politics, you know? And the politicians recognize this, right? They'll admit to it, you know? We would like to deconfine, but, you know, we don't want to be seen as being reckless.
Yeah.
Because you can't have the press making all this noise and we deconfine.
Maybe I like this meme, and it's the following: that what if media would have been punching out, like every newslet would have punched out, like okay, coverage today, how many obese people do we have today? Yeah. And how many died from diabetes and chronic diseases today? And just putting the focus on the chronic illness situation. What if we would have had that laser focus on chronic illness now for, you know, the last 3 months? How many people would have been saved in one sense, because they would maybe start living a bit more healthy? Like, okay,
increasing this buffer of healthness that we talked before.
Yeah, totally. I agree with you totally. This COVID period of the last 3 months is just it's a very small period compared to what's been happening for the last few decades. It's exactly the same thing. The government have done nothing. So they did nothing about COVID for the last, like, the 2 to 3 months before it actually hit Europe, right? They did nothing. They kind of like went, oh, you know, someone else will have this, you know, World Health Organization. The Chinese have got it. It's so fine. Oh, yeah, the South Koreans will sort it out. Or, oh, it's in Italy. Oh, no, the Italians will never fucking sort this out. Oh, let's panic, right? That was it. That was the sort of thing. But they've done the same thing with the general health of the population for decades, you know? Or let's pretend there's no problem. Something will happen, you know. McDonald's will start selling healthy shit, you know. Or Coke is going, it's going 0 sugar. Oh, that's fine then, you know. Yeah. Still no nutritional value in it, but, you know, the government have done nothing for that. You know, I think if you're sitting in government now, if you're a high level civil servant, like, shit, what are the take homes from COVID? This whole situation. What's the one take home is you've got to go to the source of the health of the population. Yeah. You can't just stick a plaster on it using drugs from Glaxo's or Sanofi or begins with a K, the German company that makes loads of medication and makes billions of euros. You know, you can't just use these companies to put you know, like a plaster over a broken arm. That's what we're doing, right? The health of our nations is fucking broken. Yeah. And if the governments don't stand up and take note and make a radical change, you know, they've learned nothing. They're just pushing back the problem for, you know, the next guy who gets elected into parliament. And that's the biggest issue. Yeah. I mean, are they going to learn from this?
It's I don't know where did I get this? I think it was from an author about habits, creating good habits, and it's this thing that, like our mind, we are cavemen still in our mind, right? So everything that is instant gratification, as a caveman, was very good. Like, you hear a noise from back of you, it's very good to run.
You run. If fight or flight. Yeah.
If you're cold, you cover up. If, like, all these signals were like instant. However, today it's like the opposite. Everything that is instant gratification today has a long-term bad effect on us. Yeah. And everything that has a good effect in the long term on us is not giving us the sugar kick today. Like, it's not giving us the kick today. So it's simple politics are simply not there. That's the
tobacco, drugs, alcohol, bad food, whatever it is. It's the same thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Same pattern. I mean, so
and the issue is that the media have been taking control of politics, and the politicians have been taking control of the health realm. They haven't legislated to protect people's health because they're afraid to lose voters. It's like in France, they said, okay, we're going to close down every business that's not essential. Do you know what businesses stayed open?
In France?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably bakeries.
Yeah, boulangerie. So you could go and get your pain au chocolat and your croissants and your bread and your dose of fucking diabetes, and the cigarette shop. So you could go and buy your cigarettes. Those were seen as essentials, right? That's crazy. And then restaurants still not allowed to open. But what happened? An exception was given for the McDrive.
Yeah.
So McDonald's were allowed to open their McDrives like 2 weeks before any other restaurant allowed to do takeaway food or anything. It's like, how can that be in the interest of the nation's health? It was purely out of, people are getting pissed. Oh, let's give them a Big Mac. They'll vote for us. That's basically it. Let's get the kids crying in the corner. Give them a sweet. That's exactly the politicians have been playing politics with the nation's health. Yeah. And it's tiring. It really is. It really is.
How was it in France? I mean, in Germany, you had this hamstring of toilet paper, and I know the hamstring in Spain was actually alcohol. So people bought so much alcohol, which is
there's
also
nothing left. Yeah, there's nothing left. Yeah.
Also really putting gas on the fire.
Well, for the first time in history, I saw French people buying soap, right? So that was, right? So you know what I think about the French people, right?
Positive outcomes out of it.
Filthy bastards. They go to the toilet, they touch their penis, they don't wash their hands. It's like filthy. Let alone for when they go for a shit, right? I don't want to know, right? So I don't shake people's hands. I always go, hey, how's it going, from afar like that.
Social distancing fits perfectly the French style.
Yeah, perfectly. It's like, for a single guy like me, social distancing with French women is super hard, man. It's like, I want to kiss you. No. Okay. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Of course.
I'm not really. I'm not really. But yeah. So soap, for the first time, you saw guys actually buying soap, which is quite a big one. What up, pasta? Obviously, just flew off the. There was no rupture of stocks. There's no like, broccoli is out. You could always get fresh fruit and veggies because But I tell you what, Coca-Cola, the shelves for Coca-Cola, Orangina, and that kind of stuff. I mean, guys were queuing up with their caddies, and they had not like one pack of 6 bottles of 2 liters, but they'd have like 2 or whatever. It's like shit. You guys are going into lockdown. You're going to be drinking like 2 liters each per day. If you're not sick enough to die of COVID now, you will be the next time it comes. You fuck. It's like, are you really that stupid? There was no problem with bottled water, obviously. And then they were saying about confinement and not seeing anyone and stuff, but you were allowed to go into a cigarette shop.
Yeah.
You're allowed to queue to go and buy cigarettes. You're allowed to touch money and hand money over to buy cigarettes. And then outside of every cigarette shop, guys are going, anyone got a light? Yeah, and the guy's going up and giving him a light. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, you're not letting us.
The most endangered population are allowed to meet.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
I think that's the best thing I've seen outside our windows here was this woman. She had like this mouth protection walking around, and then she when she passed here, she was like taking it down and then putting a cigarette and started to smoke it. It's like, who are you trying to save here?
I think there's a huge lack of education about basic health, and I think the problem with democracy is democracy itself, right? Because the vast majority of voters, as you said, they want the sweet, right? They want the short-term nice stuff, right? So in a democracy, it doesn't pay to be a politician with that's got values and has integrity and actually really wants to make a positive change. It doesn't pay.
It doesn't pay because the results of your actions are going to be seen in 10, 20 years' time. And it's a generational change. So absolutely no change. Right. That's education, that's health, and that's nutrition and all the stuff that really matter. As a parent, for example.
You'd have to be in some sort of semi-dictatorship in order to get anything through and applied, right? So that's why I think that European countries being fairly popular democracies for most of them, or what's perceived as being a democracy, we're basically fucked from top down. The system just.
Now they're cutting it off. And NSA
isn't going to help us, We have this expression where it's one person at a time and one workout at a time, and that's how you're going to change the view of what's going on, And then after a few months, say, hey, have you read the level 1 manual? Oh, it's only no, you should download it. It's totally for free. Read that, And that's how we're going to get guys more and more hooked on it, and more and more ambassadors. It's going to be kind of like I'd imagine it's kind of like the Western frontier when they sent out preachers, to go and all these non-believers go out there with your Bible and start
talking about mixing CrossFit and a cult. That's a way to go.
Are we a cult? Without a doubt, man. I think definitely we're a cult, and I think we're a culture, we're a community, we're a cult. Yeah, we're for sure. We're a biker gang, we're Fight Club, we're anything you want to call us, but with very good intentions. For sure.
So would you say now in this COVID period, have you had your hardest times to make like hard decisions now over this period, or?
Yeah, and we're still making them. It's okay. So when we come back with high rents like we have, it's like just the one box in Paris, we pay 42,000 euros a month in rent. So either if we have to limit numbers, or we need to have a large number of square meters per member, and we still want to be paying all our coaches, and we want to, we don't want to be laying off people and all this kind of stuff. We don't want to be reducing the number of classes. We're gonna have to make some hard decisions about membership prices and options and stuff. So we're just waiting to see what the government announces on the 27th. So we've got, it's like, if they announce that we can only have X number of members, well, that's plan A. If they announce that, we can't open indoors, well, that's plan B. If they announce we can open indoors and there's no restriction, well, that's plan C. So we've got, I don't know if you can see, I'll show you my mind mapping there, my whiteboard here. The crazy professor, So we've been working on different options like that, and also some good stuff, right? So when there's a crisis, you put in place work groups and different systems and stuff. So it's like, Zoom classes is a system of work that didn't exist for us before, but it's one that we're going to keep going because we realized that, some people that even if they're members and they can come in on, 2 days a week, or maybe they'll be able to squeeze in an hour at home, but while the kids are doing their homework, So there's certain systems that you create in times of crisis. I mean, most of them you then throw out the window once the crisis is over, or you have them under your elbow in case the crisis returns, and then you reactivate them. But certain systems are useful and can actually add value to your business model. So that's what we found. So there's some good stuff that's coming out of it. Other stuff we're doing, online programming, that kind of stuff. We'll start selling that, and then we train. So we do trainings for coaches, and we do trainings for business leaders, and we do trainings for salespeople. So they normally come to the box for a couple of days, and we'll do some theory, we'll do some role play, and then we'll watch it in practice in the box and how it works together, how the sales and service systems work together. So that sort of stuff, we've had to reimagine all the modules to be able to do online. So it's courses we're going to be doing online as well, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of good has come out of it, because it makes you have to really take nothing for granted, put everything on the table, lay out the bare ass facts, right? You're turning over the stone, and you're going to see all the grisly worms and insects underneath, and you've got to look at the facts, the brutal facts, to make the best decisions. So a time of crisis helps something. But to be honest, personally, I could have done without it. It's like I would rather have had, a good time leading up to preparing the French Throwdown and congratulating my teams on some good months and having our members train and be healthier. Kind of a disruption that's just come out of political ineptitude.
No, it's I mean, there's nobody. I don't know if it's a comfort, but at least that's been the thing going inside of me. It's like it would have not made any decision if I would have been anywhere else. Like, I did not make a bad decision here. That's not why we are here. It's forced upon me, and that kind of, I don't know, brings down the temperature a bit. But yeah, again. It's what is interesting to see out is like this I guess the larger your business you have right now, the harder to fall in one sense that you.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, confinement, and the deconfinement as it is now is better suited to a small box than it is to a larger box. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
In Germany, however, like Adidas, and they I don't know the details from this, but they got rent free. So it's been like a lot of talk about like, yeah, so the big giants are getting saved, and then the small businesses have no.
So I think, wasn't it that Adidas refused to pay?
Yeah,
I can't. I think it was that, right? It was like,
they refused to pay, but they got a huge backlash of media regarding that, and then H&M did the same thing, I guess. So then they move around and say, okay, no, but they got some bailouts from landlords.
From landlords, yeah, okay.
But I think this is also maybe a good time to look at real estate, right? Because what is happening? Why do these huge corporations need to stop paying their bills after 1 month? Like how healthy
is their business?
Yeah, but not only that business, but a business model, and then maybe also, hey, maybe the real estate is just also crazily taking such a huge part now of the revenue.
The fixed cost. I mean, your rent shouldn't be more than 20% of your revenue, right?
Yeah.
But then you look at so many business models, and it's 30, 35, 40%. I mean, I know box owners where their rent is 50% of their revenue. And I'm saying either you need to increase your dues, or you need to increase your number of members and your dues. But as you stand, you'll not last. I mean, that's just basic economics, basic business sense. 20% should be your benchmark on a bricks and mortar business. Max, if you can push it down towards 10% is way better. But you're never going to get margins. Most boxes have a very, very low margin per member, right? If you're charging 120 euros, it's probably costing you like 110 to actually run the box, so if you make a mistake on your rents in your business model, that's pretty lethal. It's a good time also to consider actually purchasing water stuff, because if there's going to be a recession, if you got some money in the bank, there's going to be a recession, and you can put a deposit down on a 500 square meter location or something. And the bank loans are very low here in France. I don't know, probably the same in Germany. The interest rates are very low. They may increase as a recession deepens or goes on for longer. But it's a good time to think, hey, shit, why don't I invest in this? And instead of paying, 10,000 in rent per month, I pay 10,000 to the bank. But in 10 years' time, the bloody location is mine, right? Yeah, totally. And then if ever COVID comes in, you get these. Did you guys have like mortgage repayment holidays in Germany, where you could push back your mortgage repayments by the number of months you were closed? So if you own,
I think that was one of the measurements that were taken.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a measurement that helps the guy who's purchased his location, right? You can control your treasury much more. So, I mean, if ever there's another confinement or something, the guy who owns his location is in a much sweeter space than the guy's renting, without a doubt.
Yep, you touched a point over there I wanted to ask before, and you had a background in corporate fitness, we can call it, right? With Fitness First, and now you have this entrepreneur fitness in a way, and you're in contact and direct contact with so many boxes because of your liaison with CrossFit in France, French CrossFit area. So what is it that you would say the biggest gap between the corporate fitness and the entrepreneur fitness? What is it that box owners should learn? The intention,
yeah. And the intention in corporate fitness is just a model that's going to make them money. It's not about results. It's not about giving service. It's about giving service only so you can make money. So the intention is not care and concern. The intention is not making any difference to your local community. And the intention is not upskilling people to give excellent coaching. The intention is just what's going to make us money. What's gonna, but also because they're in that financial model of having VCs and guys that are looking at a 3-month P&L. They want results within the next quarter. They don't want to be here in 20 years' time necessarily. They want the next 2 or 3 years before they set on and make money off their shares or that kind of stuff. So everything is led from there, right? The whole strategy is led from there. So you look at Basic Fit, like the guys that are 50 meters across from our box here in Bordeaux. That box has about 1,000 people going in there on a regular basis. It has 6,000 members. You got 5,000 members that are paying 20 euros a month. That's 100,000 euros a month. That's 1.2 million a year of people that aren't actually using the service. You know? So it's all smoke and mirrors, the commercial gym. Whereas
that's
CrossFit box
yeah.
will give, you know, you don't have any minimum commitment period. You can leave at any time. Higher dues, but higher dues. Why? Because we're going to give you results, right? And if we don't give you results, you can leave. But we'll give you results. And to give you results, we're gonna train the ass out of our coaches. We'll give you the very best programming. We'll give you the very best combination of movements. We'll give you the very best instruction. We'll push you out of your comfort zone. We'll give you the best environment to maximize your results. That's our intention, is the best environment to maximize results. Global Gym, it's the best environment for them to make money. And so global gyms believe in overcrowding. They will never have a limit on the number of members they have in a box. They never say how many people can we actually serve. It's how many people can we keep selling memberships to, and then it's, you know, how many people have left, and how many people do we need to sell to, in order to keep growing. And that's they're driven by that.
Have you seen any change to that?
No.
No.
The only change is they saw that CrossFit works, so they start to do some sort of like HBX bullshit, and let's do some circuit trainings, let's do cross training, let's do crisscross, let's do cross shit, let's do McShit, McFit, McCrossFit, whatever it is, right? All the different variations, but without actually understanding the methodology. And even if they do understand the methodology, they're just simple employees. You know, you own and you run your business. You know, it's you and a bunch of friends that are doing it. You know, and you all care enough to go and friggin', you know, pass your level 1s, level 2s, level 3s. You're learning about nutrition. You're in contact with your members. You want to get kids classes in, not because kids classes pay you money, they cost us money. We do kids classes because we know it's fundamental for the local community. Yeah, Globos don't do that shit, you know. And you can see it during the confinement. Show me a Globo that did anything during confinement. You know, it took them 2 weeks to organize this friggin' Zoom class. And they would have one instructor per country for the 150 low-cost gyms, you know, giving some shit. Les Mills, Superman, knee, Superman, yeah. Like, for fuck's sake. You know, and
but the model keeps being that the best customer is the one that doesn't show up. So giving that,
exactly. They believe in overcrowding. So, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I can only come once a week. You're perfect for us, you know. You tell us I can only come once a week. Well, hey, dude, once a week's better than nothing. But if you really want results, let's sit with your agenda. Tell me when is it you work. You know, let's work out when we can find 2 other sessions so you're coming at least 3 times a week, right? That's the difference in approach, you know.
We have this also. We looked like, hey, we need to get people to train at least 3 times a week. That's kind of what we've been saying. And some people like have really hard time doing that because they're traveling a lot and so on. So we have the opportunity now with this. We're doing the online personal training and everything. Now we actually have the opportunity to do that. So we can train them on the road now. So that's going to be really, really good from the outcome from this, hopefully. But yeah, we basically said like our basic offer to any member that wants to start here, we say like, hey, we have this membership. It allows you to train 4 times a week. And they're like, but I was just thinking of 2 times a week. And like, but you should train 4 times a week.
So, yeah, you can find 4 hours, right? Yeah. Like training with us 4 times a week is like going to the Globo once. Because you go to the Globo once, you're going to spend fucking 3 hours queuing up for fucking bench press, you know?
Hour in the treadmill. And...
Yeah, exactly. Go on the treadmill and do level 3 for half an hour. Bullshit, you know? Come and do fucking Fran for 7 minutes. You get far more out of that than going on a treadmill for half an hour. You know? So yeah, I think we have really good cards to play with regards to Globos at the moment. And I mean, I'm not ever ashamed to say to our members, if you have friends, family, anyone you care about, bring them into the box, for Christ's sakes, you know. You guys are believers, you know. Don't let your friends and family fall into this trap, you know, of, you know, the thing about global gyms or commercial gyms is it was perceived as being better than nothing.
Yeah.
We lost.
Uh-oh. Yeah, it can be that his phone died.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice podcast.
Okay, that was Daniel Chaffey.
Let's see if he pops in here again.
Talking about globos, and weren't we? We're off slagging off the globo gym.
I think people were listening and we just cut off by NSA or something like that.
Possibly, yeah. McFit, yeah.
No, actually, we are. I want to be respectful of your time, and also we are heading over to next assignments here. But it's a bit bad timing with everything. I was supposed to be in Bordeaux last weekend.
Really?
For the weightlifting seminar there, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So no, it would have been nice to meet in person, but we will need to rebook that.
Well, if you guys are ever coming to Paris or Germany, please just give me a heads up. And I've been working on my German. Do you want to hear my best German?
Bitte.
Okay, so this is what I've been taught by German affiliates, right? And they'll know who they are, because if they're listening to this, they know who they are. So they're guys that came on some of the training sessions with us. So, du bist sehr sexy. You good, right? Yeah. Ich bin große Scheiße. Right? And then wait for this one. This one's really bad. You may have to delete this after this. As to Spermagoogler. Is that an expression? Is that a German expression?
It probably is, but I'm not native enough to know.
Yeah, but I was told that it means something like, you know, we're off to church or something like that. Is that right?
No, yeah, definitely.
that's about as good as my German is, I'm afraid. So yeah.
My French is pretty awesome. I usually get along very good with French people. I always say je fais l'amour comme le petit lapin.
I make love like a little bunny rabbit. Nice one. Yeah. So long as it's not the same size as a little bunny rabbit. As long as it's like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, guys, thank you very much for your time. If ever you guys are coming to France, please come on over. As affiliates, if you guys need anything, please hit up Marcus McLean.
Yeah.
So he's the crazy American in Germany.
Yeah. When he was here February, we went for dinner with him. So last February.
Yeah, no, I speak with Marcus not every day, but at least we have some touch points every month. And now Daniel is out again. It's the French and NSA.